Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another video update. This is for the January 23rd meeting of the Board of Trustees. Before we got started, we had a couple announcements on Monday night. The first was just about the toter pickup, and that's that for the green toter Zone 1, the pickup date will actually be Tuesday, February 14th. There was a typographical error. That's the correct date. If you have any questions about that, you can give Department of Public Works a call at 973-378-7741. Village Hall offices and facilities will be closed on Monday, February 13th in observance of Lincoln's birthday. Happy birthday, Abe. The meeting that would be that night will be rescheduled for Wednesday, February 15th at 7:30 p.m. in Village Hall. There's also a budget workshop meeting for the Board of Trustees February 8th at 7:30 p.m. here in Village Hall. And just one reminder about our alert system. It's certainly not perfect. We're still working on it as part of an overall IT plan. But please make sure that you're signed up, and you can do so at southorange.org/alert. That will make sure that you are in the email list or the text message list to receive updates about information, especially about weather emergencies, or any other emergencies that are happening in town. We had a couple presentations Monday night. The first was a nice recognition ceremony for two members of the rescue squad. One was outgoing President Don Boyle, and the other was the outgoing Captain Kurt Gibson. Both of those people have spent a really enormous amount of time volunteering on behalf of the rescue squad for their town. Each of them have gone on about 2,500 emergency medical calls for the South Orange Rescue Squad. And the Rescue Squad has been around since 1952. It's a volunteer donation-funded organization, and we actually cover the town on a 24/7 basis. During the day, you'll see a private ambulance company that has the primary EMS responsibilities, but the Rescue Squad actually provides backup for that during the day, and then covers as the primary at night and on the weekends and on Friday afternoon. And just a PSA, I also mentioned this during the meeting. This is important, but if you ever see someone driving through town or really anywhere with a flashing blue light on in the front of their car, that means that they're a volunteer responding to an emergency call. In town, that means that the first ambulance is already on a medical call, and it means that there was a second 911 medical call before the first ambulance was available from the first one. That means that that person, that blue light, is trying to get them to the rescue squad so they can get in an ambulance and answer that 911 call. If you see one of those people, pull over and let them pass. Just a short PSA. Anyway, we thank Kurt Gibson and Don Boyle and everybody else at the squad for the countless hours, thousands upon thousands of volunteer hours that they've given to South Orange. And if people want to learn more about the Rescue Squad or even join, you can do so at southorangerescuesquad.org. SOPAC also presented its quarterly report to the Board of Trustees. They talked about some of the upcoming programming that they have this season. You can find out more about SOPAC's upcoming season, which looks really great, at sopacnow.org. We also had an update from Seton Hall University about some of the things they're working on. The president at Seton Hall and myself are having regularly scheduled meetings to talk about a number of issues ranging from public safety to IT to downtown development. We've got a lot of ideas in the air, but we both think it's extremely important that both of our communities work as closely together, hand in hand, when we're planning for our futures. There's really not a lot that we would decide that wouldn't impact the other, so it's really important that we're working together for the sake of the students, for the sake of our residents, and the success of both the university and the village. And if you want to find out more about what's going on at Seton Hall, you can do so at shu.edu/news. They have a lot of great events up on campus, and they have some nice events that they do downtown as well. We went on to approve our minutes after that from our January 9th meetings and January 17th Special Improvement District Workshop. We had one ordinance on first reading, and that was an ordinance about bike racks in apartment buildings, just to basically establish a set requirement for new developments and how many bicycle spaces that they would be required to provide. That did pass 5-1 on first reading, and will be on for second reading our next meeting. There was a public comment period. As always, I'm hesitant to try and summarize what people discussed. There were some comments about the improvement district, and we discussed some of those comments in our board discussion about the special improvement district that came a little bit later in the meeting that I'll get to in one moment. We moved on to our board discussion. The first item on there was a red light camera RFP. Basically, this was an issue that came from the Public Safety Committee, and the question is whether the village is interested in potentially putting in red light cameras at a couple intersections. The board was in agreement, absolutely, that we should only do so if there is a demonstrated need. So that if we have learned, if there's been an analysis or a study done that shows that there are particular intersections where there are a high number of accidents caused by people running red lights. They did, one of the companies that gave the town a proposal did do a preliminary study, and in 1 day's period that they measured, 1 weekday, they found over about 120 or 130 red light violations just on the intersection of South Orange Ave and Scotland and Valley, and that was just going east and west on South Orange Ave. Over 130 violations just in 1 day of people running red lights. So that gives rise to the possibility that there may be some problems that need to be addressed. But again, the board was only interested in doing so if we determined that there was a need, that those were unsafe conditions causing accidents. We don't know if those 130 violations were by a half of a second or whether they were really serious violations that were really endangering the lives of pedestrians and other vehicles as well. Obviously, the point of this would be to make sure that people are following the traffic regulations, and the entire system would actually come at no cost to the taxpayers. So that's something that is being considered. We're going to do a little more analysis before moving forward with that at all. We also got a little update about the Village Hall move and renovation. There's been a number of IT issues that have come up. As some of you may or may not know, South Orange hosts its own email and its own website in the building here. There's a lot of things that need to be figured out before we move out of this building to make sure that there's no interruption of services to either the email or the website, which especially email at this point is a very critical piece of our infrastructure. The schedule is that we believe that we'll have a construction consultant on board with this project by the end of February, and then going forward, we'll finish the plans, bid out the construction in June, award it in July, and then move in August. And the entire project would take about 1.5 years or 2 years to complete, and we'd get to come back to a beautifully restored Village Hall. A good portion of that renovation, which will be funded actually through grant money, because this is a National Historic building. So we'll obviously keep people updated on that. One more interesting point about that, actually, that was not part of our original architectural plans, was that we're interested in making the downstairs lobby have a unified service window. So instead of a resident having to go to 3 different offices to find different permits, you'd be able to go to one window, and the staff there would be cross-trained to be able to deal with issues that may arise from different departments. For example, the clerk's office, the tax assessor, tax collector, engineering, construction, building, code enforcement. You'll be able to go to one spot and take care of all of your village business there, and ideally actually have a computer kiosk so you could sit down at the computer and actually fill out all your permits right online. So you'd be able to do that from home, from the library, or if someone wanted to come in and be walked through the process, they'd be able to do so, but still do it electronically, which will save the village and the taxpayers at the end a lot of money and time. Related to that, we talked about some IT issues and staffing issues. The way that our IT department was staffed previously, before our prior IT director stepped down, was that we had 2 full-time staff. We'll be moving towards having 1 full-time staff and 2 part-time staff. This basically means that we're going to save a little bit of money on not having to pay the tail costs of employment for those 2 part-time staff, the benefits that a full-time staff person would have, and we'll actually get more flexibility because we'll have people be able to record the meetings, which is at night and on a different schedule than the IT issues that arise during the day. We also then discussed the interim administrator's hours. and that he would be staying on about 20 hours to help transition to our new administrator, Barry Lewis. I'll also talk about in a second. And then also do a salary study to help the board figure out a way to implement performance-based pay increases, which is something that we really want to do. We then moved on to a discussion of the Special Improvement District. Wanted to make sure to address some concerns before this was listed for first reading. There's been a number of concerns that have been brought up. I had a list of them, almost 10 questions that I had kind of outstanding about this. I went back through the Improvement District Advisory Committee's final report and actually found that almost half of my questions were already answered in that. It was really quite a thorough job. There were a few more concerns that were raised. For example, what are the tools that are available to make sure to keep the Special Improvement District's budget out, from spiraling out of control? So there's kind of two pieces to that. One, for example, is a 4% statutory cap on the budget that can be raised by the Improvement District Board. And the other is that the budget would have to be improved in that board, which is made up primarily of business owners. And then it would have to come back to the Board of Trustees for final approval. So there'll be plenty of chances for people to look at it, plenty of chances for public input, and again that those budgets would be created by the business community. We had a workshop about the Improvement District the other week, and we invited Jeff Bueller, who's part of a statewide Main Street organization and who's worked with dozens of improvement districts and similar projects. And he actually provided some really great advice and guidance on how to make sure we're setting this up right. I mean, a lot of people talk about compare South Orange to other downtowns, Maplewood, Milburn, Livingston, Westfield, a number of other towns, and those all have improvement districts. They've been used in a lot of downtowns in the area. Morristown also, for example, Red Bank. A lot of really spectacular downtowns do use these to help bolster their business district and create buy-in from not only the property owners who are proactive and already contribute and are involved, but force buy-in from some of those property owners who may not be as involved or committed to the downtown. So we did discuss those issues. A resident raised a concern that he believed that perhaps the improvement district was a way for the village to raise taxes beyond our 2% cap. I wanted to make sure to address that because the board actually instituted a budget in 2011 where the in-cap tax increase, was negative 1.4%. And that is that there are expenses in cap and out of cap. The out of cap expenses like pensions and benefits that we really don't have control over are one thing. The in cap expenses, we actually were well under that 2% cap. We were at about -1. So this is certainly a tool that the board is considering, the Special Improvement District, a tool that would enable the downtown to flourish and possibly grow even more if it's something that the board chooses to pass. This ordinance will be listed for first reading on our next meeting. We went through a number of resolutions on our consent agenda. The last one, of course, being the resolution to go into executive session, which included a contract negotiation with community service provider, contract for administrative services, East Orange Water Commission, threat of litigation, and a SOPAC report. We went on from the consent agenda, and we had two resolutions on for separate action. One was promoting our acting IT manager to the position of IT manager, Stan Wilkinson, which we're very excited about. And the other was to hire Barry Lewis as our new administrator, which we're also very excited about. And you can go on our website or on the patch, and you can find the press release about that. We think Barry is an excellent fit for South Orange. He's got a lot of great experience working in different municipalities in New Jersey. And we're really excited to get started working with him. In fact, we've already started the transition this week, and he'll be starting full-time on Monday. We moved on to approve our bills and adjourned our meeting from there. Hopefully this has been a helpful update. I try and bring out as much information as possible while still keeping these video updates brief. If you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to drop me an email at atorpey@southorange.org or stop by my office hours on Tuesday afternoon. All right, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. I hope to talk to you soon. Take care.